here?
Yeah.
Some juice?
Yeah. Thank you.
We are called on to life, destiny uncertain. Yet we offer thanks for what we know, for health and healing, for labor and repose, for renewal of beauty in earth and sky, for that blend of human holy which inspires compassion, and for hope eternal, promising light, for life, for health, for hope, for beautiful, bountiful blessing, all praise to the source of being.
What does a person expect to attain when entering a synagogue? In the pursuit of learning, one goes to a library. For aesthetic enrichment, one goes to an art museum. For pure music, to the concert hall. Many are the facilities which help us to acquire the important worldly virtues, skills, and techniques. But where should one learn about the insights of the spirit? Many are the opportunities for public speech. Where are the occasions for inner silence? It is easy to find people who will teach us how to be eloquent. Who will teach us how to be still? It is surely important to develop a sense of humor. Is it not also important to have a sense of reverence? Where should one learn the eternal wisdom of compassion, the fear of being cruel, the danger of being callous? Where should one learn that the greatest truth is found in contrition. Important and precious as the development of our intellectual facilities is the cultivation of a sensitive conscience that's indispensable. We are all in danger of sinking into the darkness of vanity. We are all involved in our own egos. Where should we become sensitive to the pitfalls of cleverness, or to the realization that expediency is not the acme of wisdom? We are constantly in need of self-purification. We are in need of experiencing moments in which the spiritual is relevant and as concrete as the aesthetic, for example. Everyone has a sense of beauty. Everyone is capable of distinguishing between the beautiful and the ugly. But we must also learn to be sensitive to the spirit.
gather to anticipate closing gate, sealing gate, crowding and passing time, opening hearts to you, finding in these ending moments new beginnings of our faith and our chances for renewal. Turn us to you, ye Redeemer. Bless our turning toward humility, humanity, tasks that bind us to your world's repair, our souls repair in this world, in the world to come. Turn us to each other in your sacred planning, conveying your design and holy choices. Turn to you with deeds of goodness. Turn to you in trust and faithfulness. Seal the gate for your holy people. Seal it with righteousness and truth. Bring to this decision continued strength and reason, bound to you in blessing, bound to you in hope.
May my life be one link in a chain of goodness. As I say the prayers of my ancestors, help me to recall their devotion and faithfulness, their joy and suffering, which are in every word. Holiness is my heritage. May I be worthy of it. May our tradition live in me and pass from me to generations I shall never know, enriched by the truth that I have found and the good deeds I have done. So may I fulfill my task on earth and receive my blessing. And when the service ends and the prayers have ceased, help me to bring their spirit into the world in which I live. May I love God above all and my neighbor as myself, and be a living witness to the truth that never changes. I'd like to go away alone, where there are other nicer people, somewhere into the far unknown, there where no one kills another. Maybe more of us, 1,000 strong, will reach this goal before too long. A little garden, fragrant and full of roses. The path is narrow, and a little boy walks along it. A little boy, a sweet boy, like that growing blossom. When the blossom comes to bloom, the little boy will be no more. If the prophets broke in through the doors at night and sought an ear like a homeland, ear of mankind, overgrown with nettles, would you hear? If the voice of the prophets blew on flutes made of murdered children's bones and exhaled airs burnt with martyrs' cries, if they built a bridge of old men's dying groans, ear of mankind, occupied with small sounds, would you hear? If the prophets rushed in with the storm pinions of eternity, if they broke open your acoustic duct with the words, "Which of you wants to make war against a mystery who wants to invent the star death?" If the prophets stood up in the night of mankind like lovers who seek the heart of the beloved, night of mankind, would you have a heart to offer? Blessed is the match consumed in kindling flame. Blessed is the flame that burns in the heart's secret places. Blessed is the heart with strength to stop its beating for honor's sake. Blessed is the match consumed in kindling flame.
Knud Dyring Dyby was a young Danish policeman when in 1943, during the German occupation of Denmark, he joined the resistance movement and ended up being denounced for anti-Germanic activities. Due to the situation, he was forced to use fake names in order to not be discovered. On October 1st, a fellow police officer, Frej Jensen Petersen, asked him to save some of his Jew friends, and he accepted. The two met, and Frej Jensen Petersen, along with his neighbor, Vladimir Jacobson, his wife, and children, brought also other Jewish friends with their children. The groups were divided into two smaller groups, each of them led by a member of the resistance movement contacted by Dyby. Traveled to Nordhaven, an arbor area in Copenhagen. Once the group finally gathered, Dyby, with the help of his fisherman friend, Bernhard Ingemann Andersen, negotiated the fare for the crossing with the captains of the fishing boats, who once agreed transported the Jews to Sweden. Being police officers, Dyby and Frej managed to get in touch with some of the police comrades of the Coastal Police Department. In this way, they managed to limit the inspections and to partially discover the positions of the German naval patrol boats. After this operation, over the next 7 to 10 days, Dyby continued to go to Nordhaven to help other Jewish families escape to Sweden.
Later, remaining in the police, he continued to collaborate with the Danish resistance movement, within which he was called Carlson. Managing to establish reliable contacts with the Swedish coast, his main task was to find agreements with fishermen to transport people, information, and materials to Sweden. The information Knud had access to as a policeman proved to be crucial in planning the many crossings that he was responsible for in October of 1943. As a member of the Danish underground, he ferried Jews from Denmark to Sweden. Knud assisted in transporting some 1,888 people to safety, a third of whom were Jewish. Knud also managed five fishing skippers. These boats made repeated trips between Denmark and Sweden with mail, money, weapons, intelligence data, news, and Jews. On September 19, 1944, the Germans attempted to capture the Danish police officers because they had not helped them to capture the Jews, and they had never opposed the Danish resistance. That day, in order to capture them, they set off a false alarm for an air raid. But more than half the policemen got away with the capture, including Dyby, and joined the liberation movement. Unfortunately, those who were captured ended up in Buchenwald and Neuengamme concentration camps, along with other members of the resistance. Altogether, 2,000 policemen were imprisoned. The behavior of the Danish police was commendable. In fact, if, like other police forces in the occupied countries, they had helped the Nazis to capture Jews, a much higher number of them would have ended up in concentration camps. When Denmark was liberated in May 1945, Knud ended his police career. A year later, he moved to the United States. On December 21, 2004, Knud Dyby was recognized as righteous among the nations by Yad Hashem. Knud Dyby died in December 2011 at the age of 96.
when justice burns within us like a flaming fire, when love evokes willing sacrifice from us, when, to the last full measure of selfless devotion, we demonstrate our belief in the ultimate triumph of truth and righteousness, then your goodness enters our lives and we can begin to change the world. And then you live in our hearts, and we, through righteousness, behold your presence. If we can hear the words from Sinai, then love will flow from us, and we shall serve all that is holy with our intellect and all our passion, all our life. If we can serve all that is holy, we shall be doing all that humans can to help the rains to flow, the grasses to be green, and the grains to be golden like the sun, and the rivers to be filled with life once more. All the children of God shall eat, and there will be enough. And if we turn from Sinai's words and serve only what is common and profane, making gods of our own comfort or power, then the holiness of life will contract for us. Our world will grow inhospitable. Let us therefore lace these words into our passion and our intellect, and bind them as a sign upon our hands and our eyes. Let us write them in mezuzot upon our doors, and teach them to our children. Let us honor the generations that came before us, keeping the promise for those yet to be.
I can stay the tears of others if I can see myself as diminished by their sorrows. I can hasten the time when everyone will be able to rejoice in freedom. If I can see myself as the companion of those fighting against oppression, I can honor the struggle of people everywhere to gain dignity and deliverance from bondage. When I look at myself in the mirror, who will I see? Religion embraces both faith and action. The primary quality is action, for it lays the foundation for faith. The more we do good, the more readily do we grasp the meaning of duty in life, and the more readily do we believe in the divine, from which stems the good.
Creator of peace, compassionate God, guide us to a covenant of peace with all your creatures, birds and beasts, as well as all humanity, reflecting your image of compassion and peace. Give us strength to help sustain your promised covenant, abolishing blind strife and bloody warfare, so that we will no longer devastate the earth, so that discord will no longer tear us asunder. Then all that is savage and brutal will vanish, and we shall fear evil no more. Guard our coming and our going, now toward waking, now toward sleep, always within your tranquil shelter. Beloved are you, sovereign of peace, whose embrace encompasses Jerusalem, the people Israel, and all humanity.
May peace be with you. Salam aleikum. Shalom aleichem. Pax vobiscum. May peace be with you. Salam aleikum. Shalom aleichem, pax vobiscum, peace to the far and to the near, an end to war, an end to fear. May peace be with you. Salam aleikum. Shalom aleichem. Pax vobiscum. Peace in your hearts. Peace in your families. Peace in your nations, and peace, lasting peace in the world.
So we will now have a short break before Yisker begins at 5:30.